All right. Oh, and also I wanted to say, please feel free to ask questions as we go along, and we'll do our best to address them during Megan's presentation. That way we don't forget, or if there's something that we're on that's relevant, that might be helpful.
Okay, yes, let's flip on. These were just some inspiration photos, some projects that we've done in the last couple of years. We want to start with kitchen faucets and kind of talk about the latest in terms of trends and function. These are 3 different styles of pull down and pull out faucets for the kitchen, each by Delta and Moen. The first one, the Delta Cinema, is a pull down, so it eliminates the need for a side spray. If you've ever had a side spray, it seems like they just don't quite get to where you need to get in the sink. They're a little cumbersome, and you're constantly switching back and forth between your main faucet and the side spray. So the nice thing with the pull down options or the pull out options, it's all integral. So if you can see, there's a little break in the head where that comes down, and it's a retractable hose. And a lot of these have a magnet docking. So once you are done with using it, it will actually slip back up into the dock by itself by use of a magnet technology. We have lots of different finishes available, polished chrome, brushed nickel, and matte black. The pull down are the first and the third faucets, and then the pull out is that middle one. And that does give you a little more hand grip, so it's a little wider head and a larger grip area. And then they all also have different spray options. So there's a button on each of the back of those heads that allows you to control the water spray. So whether you want like a wide spray or more of a direct spray, you have a little toggle back there that will give you that option. So very popular in terms of kitchen faucets, easy to clean, easy to maintain. And again, each manufacturer is made a little bit different in terms of their technology. The touch faucets have been huge on the market. We've seen a lot of these come in the last few years, and I feel like the technology is continuing to improve. Each manufacturer does have a little different technology and where they put the wave sensors. So all the way on the right there, the Moen, you can see that has 2 sensors. So one on the front of the faucet and then one over on the top. And basically you're waving over that sensor to control the water coming on and off. Again, each one's made a little bit different, but it's very sanitary. It allows you not to have to make contact with the faucet, but yet you're using a wave motion to come on and come off.
We did have we did have a question about the fast fill technology, if there was any more that you could go in onto on that.
The fast fill technology, was that on the last
That
slide?
was on here, yep. Let me go, well, let me go back. Sorry, now I'm going forward. There we go, okay. Yeah.
So faster fill technology, just allowing the water to be ready for use. I'm not sure which faucet line is specific to that technology, but it's just allowing the constant spray of water in a more concentrated form so that you're getting, even though these are all mandated in terms of how much we can put in gallons per minute, it's just the technology is so much more improved in terms of getting that water when it's ready.
Thank you.
So the multifunction spray head, just again, that toggle button allowing you to control the water, whether it's a direct stream, so more concentrated stream of water, or a wider spray. So, you know, whether you're filling pots or cleaning, you have that ability to go back and forth. The smart faucet is something new, and I haven't actually seen this in operation, but it is voice activated, and it would tie into your assistant. So whether you use, you know, Alexa or Google Assistant, whatever you may use, you can actually hook this faucet up to that technology. So if you're in the kitchen and you want a specific amount of water to come out of the faucet, you can say, Alexa, fill the faucet with 1 cup of water, or whatever that may mean, or wash my hands for 20 seconds. And so there's a voice activation option, again, allowing you to not touch the faucet. So when we're talking about washing hands, 20 seconds, you can make that request and that water comes on automatically and then shuts off. It also has a temperature memory. So you can also set that to a predetermined temperature. So pretty cool. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but I did look at all the collections that Moen has, and they have several different faucet designs, and it looks like it's about twice the cost of a faucet. So if you're looking at maybe a $400 faucet, that would be typically just a non-activation option. This would be twice, so about $800 retail for that faucet, for that technology option. And then this picture here is just the simplest semi-professional. I've probably seen a lot of these more commercial styled faucets going into kitchens. Just another option there. You can see it's going to require some height, so something to keep in mind for a kitchen, but beautiful faucets. And that's a black hose, and then it's got the kind of the wire wrap around it, and it does swing, so it articulates kind of back and forth. So it's got a 360-degree swing. These are some faucets that are just shown in some interesting finishes. So brass and gold, definitely still very popular. We've seen a lot of different versions of brass and gold. Kohler has a brushed bronze, which is a really pretty matte finish that's brass. And then there's certainly high polished brass as well. Chrome, very popular. As well as polished nickel, which is in the wheel faucet. So you can see that polished nickel finish is a little bit warmer than a polished chrome. So it integrates really well as a warmer finish. And the Waterstone is a manufacturer of faucets, very, very high-end faucets, some really interesting specialty design pieces that are really fun. So that's what that's showing, is that wheel design. We also have some 2 handles. So the Kohler Artifacts is a collection that's definitely kind of throwing back to a different era in terms of Victorian design. And it has a bridge faucet. So more of a traditional. So, we talked about the pull down. This is more of a traditional faucet. So it doesn't give you maybe so much function, but it's more about the look. And these could certainly integrate to secondary sinks in your kitchen. Maybe you have an island and you want it to be more of a focal point, or maybe it's a mudroom or a bar sink faucet that we would do something more specialty.
We did have another question come in regarding kind of the water stainage that's showing on some of these chrome faucets. Is there a way to prevent that, or that was kind of the question?
Yeah, so I would say probably more in the stainless and brushed nickel families. They have a lot more, finishes that are going to, not show as much in terms of fingerprints, but the polished chrome is pretty much true, and the polished nickels. I mean, they're a high shine faucet, so they are going to show a little bit of that. But there's a lot in the stainless and brushed nickel family faucets, and every manufacturer has its own finish that they call kind of the, I'm trying to think of the term that they use, but it's a kind of a touchless, or it just doesn't show fingerprints as much. So.
Thank you.
So a lot of mixed metal finishes are very popular right now, using the matte black and the brush gold. The one on the far right is the Kohler, and that is an ombre finish, which I know it's kind of hard to tell from the photo there, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And I did see that at the Kitchen and Bath Show earlier this year. And so it's kind of fade in and fade out in terms of the color. And then they also do it in reverse, where the rose gold is up by the head and then it fades back to the chrome. So some really pretty interesting finishes. I personally have the first faucet, the Brizo, and I absolutely love it. I went to Delta last year, and they have a great showroom there at the Merchandise Mart, and they were showing off all their new faucets, and this was one of them, and they sent us home with one, so it was really kind of fun. So it's a beautiful faucet, and I love the matte black because it doesn't show anything. So it's a very easy to clean faucet. The one that I got was a touchless, and it actually had a battery pack option, or you can hardwire it. And I would definitely say we would recommend hardwiring, especially if we're doing a major kitchen renovation, because we have the opportunity to put that in as we're renovating. Because otherwise, if you do the batteries, at some point they'll have to get replaced. I know in our home we went through that battery pack, that first set of batteries pretty quickly, just with the amount of use that we did use the faucet, and I have children. But it's a great faucet, and it is a pull down. So you may see that break up at the top of the head, and then there's the button on the back to control the spray. So again, some different metal finishes by different manufacturers. Kohler, the matte black and the grays. The Delta Cassidy, that's their champagne bronze. So very similar to the brush bronze that Kohler offers. Just again, each manufacturer is going to have a slightly different version, but very pretty and very subtle. Again, the polished brasses are coming back and more of the shiny, bold kind of gold finishes. But it seems that more of the brush finishes are integrating into clients' homes a little bit better, because we can mix metals. So let's say, for example, you have stainless steel appliances, it would be still appropriate to use a matte black or a brushed gold faucet in combination. Not everything across the kitchen has to match. So we do a lot of mixed metals, and that includes even cabinet hardware, light fixtures. There's no rule that says everything has to match. So that's what's kind of fun about it, is that we can truly make this as a focal point, almost like a standalone, and you don't feel like you have to change out your cabinet hardware or your appliances to make it all match. The Moen Essie, again, one of these more commercial style faucets. Beautiful faucets. Again, I feel like you've got to have a good space to accommodate, because you can see how large that faucet is. But again, it rotates 360 degrees, and a great pot filler, just a beautiful faucet. So this built-in filtered water dispenser we're pretty excited about. This is by LK, and it goes in between a stud bay, so it recesses into the wall. It is plumbed, so we'd be running a water line, and it eliminates the need for bottled water. So you would have chilled water, filtered water, and then you could also do just room temperature if you wanted to. And this, I think, would work in great for a mudroom or maybe a walk-in pantry scenario. I don't know that I would see it in the main area of your kitchen, because it is a little bit more utility looking, but I think it's a great option. And the retail on this, I was looking up, is about $2,200 list for the actual appliance. And then it has cartridges for the filtering system. And then you would also need the plumbing line run, and then also electrical as well. But, you know, just thinking about filling this for water bottles, you know, for watering plants around your home, for coffee, I think it would have lots of great uses. Sink options, so lots of different sink options for the main kitchen sink. The Blanco sink, the Performa, that's a double bowl sink. This is made out of steel granite. So this is a quartz composite sink. So it's about 80% quartz, and then the rest of it's composite. It is scratch and heat resistant. It comes in lots of different colors. Blanco is not the only manufacturer. We also have LK, Franke, and Kohler make these sinks as 80% of our kitchens. They're a great functional sink. They undermount under the counter, so easy to clean as you're wiping, you know, water spills or cleaning up around the sink area, and lots of different configurations. So we've done a lot in terms of the single bowl with no divide, double divide, 1 3/4 divide, low divide, high divide, so lots of different options. And then they also make laundry sinks and bar sinks in this material as well. The apron sink continues to be very popular. Moen has come out with a stainless steel option in the bottom right corner there. And then Kohler has many cast iron options. And we call those, you know, apron sink or farm sink. They require the same kitchen cabinetry space, so still a 36-inch standard sink base. but you do modify the cabinets to allow for the height. And it is really about the aesthetic on these sinks. They're beautiful sinks, and the Kohlers, they're shown the Whitehaven, that is actually a cast iron sink. And then they also make what's called fire clay. So you can get those in a variety of materials. So granite also comes in an apron sink now. So there's some great choices in terms of the farmer apron sink. Pot filler faucets. So this would be something that we would do as a complementary faucet in your kitchen, and it would be located typically at the range area. So let's say your sink is maybe 10 feet from your range area. This is a great option so that you have water source right there where you need it. So we do a lot of the wall mount. We do a lot of the deck mount as well if we have countertop space. So there's some great options there. And the wall mount is kind of nice because you can see it retracts and pivots. So wherever that pot is, like let's say that pot is on that front right corner of the cooking area, you can bring that pot filler out and turn it on, turn it off to fill. The Delta glass rinser is interesting. This little device actually sits on your kitchen countertop next to your faucet. So it would be just to the right or left of the faucet, and it takes up one hole, and it actually fills a glass to clean. So you set a glass, let's say it's a wine bottle or a wine glass or a baby bottle, or maybe it's a to-go cup, coffee cup, that kind of thing, and it sprays up water inside that glass to clean it, and then it runs down the front into your sink. So this was kind of an interesting option. I love the concept. I don't know if I'm 100% sold on seeing that next to my sink, but I do think it's a great concept. And we'll see how that takes off because this is a fairly new product. So it would obviously have a water line run to it. Okay. So on to bathrooms. So again, on the
sorry, we did just get a question. Is a glass rinser like what they used in a bar? So basically, is it what you would see in a bar when you go get a glass cleaned?
So I'm not sure, So
I think like when you go to a public bar and they're cleaning glasses, they use something very similar to this. So it might be a great option if you have a bar at home. Because like you said, I don't know, in my kitchen, I'm ready to have that either.
I know. So it sits on the countertop and it sprays up water. And actually they have a video on Delta's website. So if you go to Delta Glass Rinser, you can see exactly how it works. But let's say you had a hand soap and you got rid of that hand soap and you're left with a hole at your kitchen countertop next to your main faucet. This would plug right into that hole, and then water would just go right up inside that glass. You set that glass down, and as soon as you make contact and set that glass in there, then it sprays the water up and cleans it.
Okay. And also another question about the beverage. You have a piece on the beverage. What are the options with those in your kitchen, the beverage faucet?
So this sip beverage all the way to the right?
Yes.
Yes. So that would be in addition to your main kitchen faucet. So let's say you have a main kitchen faucet. It's not filtered water. A lot of times what we're doing is adding a sip beverage faucet next to it that would be filtered water. So that would be to fill your glass with cold water, or if you're going to, use that for your coffee water, it would be hooked up to a filtering system, and the filtering system is typically below the countertop. So it would be, so that would allow you then to use your kitchen sink water for everyday use, and it's not going through a filtering system. This one would be specific and filtered.
Okay. And can you get that hot or cold? Is that an option?
Say that again, sorry.
Can you get it hot or cold?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
There is an Insta Hot option as well.
Awesome. Okay.
So again, bathroom faucets, single hole versus the widespread. So the center faucet there is what we call a widespread. So where the faucet handles are 8 inches apart. Very nice application. Countertop, in between all that, easy to clean. And then we're showing the Delta Victorian just kind of another option for a single handle. And sometimes on those, you know, it's more about the decorative or the aesthetic, and those might be in like a powder bath or an auxiliary bath versus a main, you know, functioning master bath. But the single handle versus two handle, cross handles versus lever handles, I mean, lots of options in terms of the styles. We're showing on here brushed nickel and polished chrome. So again, you can see kind of more of the silver tones of the polished chrome finish. The first faucet here shown, Kohler Purist, is a wall mount faucet. So this can be used, and again, this is more design aesthetic, but this can be used in an application with either an undermount sink or even a vessel sink in the bathroom. So just another option, just another way to do faucetry. Again, matte black, very popular right now. We're showing the ombre finish over to the right. The Moen Eris, very contemporary faucet, single handle with the little joystick lever, and that one is in polished chrome, and then the Delta as well. So just some really unique looks in terms of faucets. Again, just showing some new collections here of faucets, different manufacturers, the Moen Glide in the matte black, the Delta in the champagne bronze, and then the Brizo in the polished chrome. And you can see the different arches and different projections. So, you know, I just let clients know, you know, definitely kind of pay attention to that. And as we look at the specifications, so that nobody's surprised when we think about, you know, the everyday use of these faucets and how far they reach into the sink and how you're going to be using them. And then the Delta Zura, the last one, is more of a vessel sink application. So it's a taller stem on that faucet to allow for a vessel sink. So that might be, again, in a powder bath scenario. And it doesn't have to necessarily be mounted to the back of that fixture. It could be off to the right or the left. Kind of just depends on, you know, the design and the setup of that space.
We did have another question. Has oil rubbed bronze gone out of style?
So we have not even shown oil rub bronze, probably for that reason. So I would say we're not seeing it as much anymore. It's certainly still available. We're seeing a lot more of these finishes, the matte black, some of these brushed gold options, the polished chrome, the brushed nickel, and the polished nickel. So, you know, I think everybody has personal taste in terms of what they like, but I would say as a whole, the oil rub bronze, we're just not seeing as much anymore.
And one more question. Are all of these in stock and available for pickup from either big box retailers or distributors?
So everything we've been showing in the presentation today are wholesale. So we would be directly buying those at like a Ferguson or a Neenan Plumbing or Briggs. As far as the big box stores, some of the faucet styles you're seeing today are available through the big box, but what's become really interesting in the industry is Moen, for example, has kind of split off and made certain fixture styles for big box distribution and then for, you know, wholesalers. So I would say not all of them are going to be available. I mean, I think for us, everything we've looked at today, most of these styles are available through our wholesalers. So again, we order through Ferguson Plumbing Fixtures or Briggs, Neenan Plumbing, and most of these are stocked. And then as far as the big box, they may not have all these styles.
All right, thank you.
So shower faucets, we do a lot of hand showers, a lot of shower rails as a secondary shower fixture in like a master shower example, for example. And the nice thing about the shower rail is you can move that head up and down. So it adjusts to any user's height. So, you know, you might be seated, you might be shaving, you might have one person that uses the shower that's 6'5" and another one that's 5'3". So the nice thing about this is that little cross handle dial there allows you to adjust that head up and down. And then you can also remove the handheld as well. So this can be used as the main head in the shower, or it can also be used as a secondary head. And when we do it as a secondary head, a lot of times the fixed head is also in the shower, and we can use a control that allows us to divert the water to one or the other or both at the same time. So there's a lot of options when it comes to that. And when we work on master bath design or shower design, we're looking at how do you use the shower. Is it one person? How are they going to use these? Are they going to just use one? So it's a lot of conversations in terms of how to design these components. But we've done a lot more on the hand shower. It also gives cleaning options. So let's say you have a nice size master shower. It allows you to take that handheld off. It's usually on a 60-inch hose and clean the shower. I've also got a lot of feedback that people use it to bathe their children and their dogs. So it has a lot of function, and it comes again in a variety of finishes, styles of bars. You know, you can also simplify and do it on a clip. So just a little stationary clip versus the bar. But I think what's great about the bar is that it does give you so many options to adjust that height for the user. That head particularly does show like a multi-function. So there's a little dial there that you can adjust. It's probably a 4 or 5 function head there. The Moen Nebia is just a really cool contemporary design. So again, showing a hand shower, just a little different look, and you can see in the photo how that creates a spray option. So
we had a question on that. Does the volume of water decline in one head or another when you have the diverter using both shower heads?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't have the specs in front of me on that. I do think it's a maximum volume, so I'm going to say it would split between them, because I know that there's mandates that only allow 2.5 gallons per minute or whatever that rating is. So I'm going to say that it probably does split between the 2 fixtures if it's all on at once.
Okay, thanks.
So some different shower rain heads. The Delta pendant rain can, kind of an interesting option. This is mounted to the ceiling. And it also gives you some lighting there too. This one's shown in the brushed bronze finish. Kind of an interesting piece. I haven't specified this. I did see it at the show last year. It's a pretty piece, but I think it's just for that specific buyer, who's looking for something kind of fun, interesting there. And then we're showing the rain shower, which rain showers are still popular. They are usually a secondary head. So they're never really just the only head in a shower, because they're more about the experience, and it's a slower experience than, let's say, a 5-function shower head that's below. So when we do a rain head, it's typically as a second ceiling head option, and then there's a fixed head on the wall as well to give you the function. Because I know I've heard a lot of feedback, and I know personally that the rain shower is going to take a little bit longer to use to wash out soap, because it's just a slower experience. The Ignite spot resist, that was the word I was trying to think of earlier. Spot resist is the finish that they specify, so it doesn't fingerprint. We were talking about that earlier. And this one has a 5-function. So again, different styles of head, traditional, contemporary, kind of in between, more transitional. Kohler has a shower head that has a wireless speaker on it, which is kind of fun. They call it the Moxie. Comes in lots of different colors. Just fun, just kind of new technology. I don't know if you remember the radio shower heads, or the radio hook-on radios. This would take the place of that. So just kind of a fun feature, and it actually comes out of there as well. So easy to clean.
So there was a question on that shower head. How is audio-visual being incorporated into showers today? And is there any integration?
For speakers, so a lot of that is with the digital showering system. And those have a lot of capacity. And every manufacturer has a little different take on them, but that's the, we call it the digital showering system, and that actually gives you a shower control on the outside and inside of your shower. And then it is also, you can integrate speakers and sound with that as well. So it's kind of sky's the limit when it comes to that. It's what do you want as far as your experience. You can set it per user. So you can say, okay, user 1 has this experience with this volume of water coming from these heads with this music, versus user number 2 has a whole different setup. So it's pretty interesting. You can really program it to your taste. So, Moen has the digital showering system, Kohler does. They're really customizable. So you have a lot of options there.
And that's through like a Bluetooth that you can set that up with your phone, I would assume?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So just showing some different shower fixtures designs, some different styles. Again, the matte black finish, brushed nickel, the spot resist finish, again, very popular just for easy to maintain. Just some different options here. And if you go to any of these websites, there'll just be pages and pages of different collections. And, you know, a lot of times when we're working with clients, we're kind of gathering information in terms of, you know, are we looking for something more traditional, something contemporary, or something kind of in between? And we call that transitional, because there's so many options that can be a little bit overwhelming. But typically, you know, the style of the home, we're kind of integrating these fixtures in to match with everything else that's going on. And so there's a lot of options. We use a lot of Kohler, Moen, and Delta, but then there's a lot of specialty lines beyond that as well. I always recommend my clients, you know, we go to a showroom right now. It's a little different, but I think a lot of them are still taking virtual appointments, and some showrooms are taking in-person appointments, you know, by appointment. So it's always a good idea to go look at these and see how they work in person. Toilet options. So again, lots of options here in terms of the styling. This particular toilet is a skirted toilet, so you're not going to see any of the exposed trapways, which is awesome. Love the look of that. And then easy to clean. So it's just a great seamless design. Comfort height, which usually gives you about 2.5 inches taller in terms of the seat height of the toilet. So unless it's a children's bath or somebody feels really strongly about having a regular height toilet, we're doing comfort toilets in every bathroom that we remodel. Elongated bowl, just more comfortable. Sometimes in tight situations, especially in Old Kansas City, Missouri, Brookside, where we just don't have a ton of space, we're doing compact elongated, or there is still round front toilets available as well. The photo here shows an elongated bowl. Technology of toilets continues to improve. Revolution 360, so the swirl flushing technology. We use a lot of Kohler, Toto, Gerber toilets. Everybody has kind of their own spin on technology. And then of course a soft close seat. So just lots of different options and different styling in the toilets. Bidet seats, this has become more popular. So this is an addition that you would put on top of your existing toilet. It allows you many different features in terms of personalized settings. So you can see that little control there. This one's by Kohler, Toto makes them as well. But it just gives you, every single one has a little different bells and whistles. But this one, for example, air dry, seat temperatures, and you can do that all via that little remote. A lot of times they have a night light or an LED light, just so that you have a way to get to them in the night. Lots of different options there.
Went ahead. We had a question on this toilet. Do they make an integrated bidet into a toilet?
Yes, there is a full bidet toilet. What I have found is most of my clients have gone with the bidet seat only because it's a lot more economical. But yes, you can get a full bidet toilet.
All right.
Undermount sink, so easy to clean. Again, an undermount sink application comes in rectangular, round. This would be opposed to doing something like in a vessel style or with anything that has a rim around the edge of the sink. Kohler makes a Ladina, and you can see that sloped bottom, which is really nice because it allows you to easy, to clean, easy to drain. There are some flat bottom sinks as well, which are really pretty, but they're not as functional. And then Kohler also has one called the Caxton. And you can see from that picture on the left, it is a little bit more of a flat bottom. There's a little bit of slope there to the drain, but not near as much as the Kohler Ladina. So just something to kind of pay attention to as you're looking for sinks. They come in a wide variety of colors. They're China, they're white, biscuit are the two most popular, and then Kohler makes lots of different shades. So you can find those in sandstone, grays, blacks, pinks, yellows. So it's kind of fun. They have a whole color chip series for their sinks. And then I think the next slide shows more of their decorative options.
We did have, sorry to go back to the bidet seats. What is the general price range for a bidet seat?
So the last one that we did, I know the full bidet toilet was around 3,000 retail, and then the bidet seat was closer to about 1,200, 1,500 retail.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it will also require some electrical there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Decorative sinks, so Kohler has an artist collection. That's what you see in those first 3 photos. Some really unique, so they have an artist series, some very unique sinks. These might be more of a special order option, so if they're not stocked, you know, we might wait 6 to 8 weeks, but this is something that we definitely would have in mind as we're designing the spaces. The first and the third are an undermount option, so sitting below the countertop. The second is a vessel sink. And then the last option there you see in the kind of the bronze is a self-rimming. So it sits up above the countertop just about 1.5 inches. And then there's lots of varying degrees of how those faucets, or I'm sorry, how those sinks sit as well. There's some that are more like 3 inches, 4 inches, so lots of different options. And then you can see that faucet is sitting off to the right as far as placement. Same with the second photo. It's not directly behind the sink, it's off to the side, just for easy to use. And also just with the sink itself, they're typically a little bit larger, so that faucet doesn't necessarily place behind there very well. You could also do a wall mount in this scenario. We just always want to make sure we're looking at the specs on that, just to make sure the spout reach is appropriate, because the last thing you want to do is have water splashing up from the bowl. So it's a pretty specific dimension that we're looking at as we place those 2 together.
We did have a question on these. Are they hand painted? And is there any concerns that comes into with cleaning?
No concerns in cleaning. And yes, they're hand painted, handmade collection. But I have not had any feedback that we've had any issues with that. So I'm sure there's a glaze that's been used over the top of them to ensure that they are sealed and great for use. And you can see these are everyday sinks. The one that's the third one is a master sink, so it's getting used every day. But I have not heard anything feedback wise that anybody's had any issues on these.
All right. We've had some great questions coming in. I don't know if there's anyone that will give it another minute or so and see if there's any other questions you guys have for Megan, but that was very informative. I know that my family is looking at remodeling a kitchen, and I know this was really exciting for me to get to see some of the options, and I had no idea that there were so many wonderful options for sink faucets. So super helpful for me.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it continues to evolve. And that's why it's so much fun to go to the Kitchen and Bath Show or go to Delta Showroom, because they're constantly integrating new technology. And again, like with the custom showering experience, and sky's the limit in terms of what you want to be able to do. We didn't really cover much in tubs, but you probably have seen that freestanding tubs are very popular and continue to evolve as well in terms of styles. So that definitely continues to be a trend, and they're very functional too. And a lot of those freestanding tubs, you can also have the option to do heated. You can do air baths, which is an alternative to like a jacuzzi bath. So it's not with whirlpool jets, but it's with small air holes that give you a totally different experience. It's a little lighter, a little softer experience, and there's you know, hundreds of little pinholes that create kind of a bubble experience in those tubs. So lots of freestanding tub options. Soaker tubs continue to be very popular as well. Just a good old, I just want to be able to soak, a deep tub experience. So when we have space on our side, you know, definitely exploring some of those tub options.
All right, well, I think that wrapped up all of our questions.
Great.
Megan's information is on the screen, her email. So if you guys have questions, feel free to send her an email if there's any follow-up information. But maybe one more question just came in. No, looks like we're good.
From Linda, what do you think about a standard tub with a walk-in shower for a guest bath? Is that what do you think about a standard tub with a walk-in shower? want to make sure I answer the question correctly. So I'm wondering if that's a shower in addition to the tub, or if it's all combined.
It sounds like potentially both, like a walk-in shower and then the separate tub.
I think if space is on your side, that makes absolute sense. As far as tubs in a home, you know, the rule has kind of always been that we want to have at least one tub in the house. So whether that's in a hall bath or a master bath, but important to, for resale purposes, keep one tub in the home. And that's really about, you know, if somebody, a potential buyer were to have children, or if somebody really likes taking baths, if that would appeal to them. Of course, if it's your home and you're not planning on moving for many years, it's completely up to you, because a lot of people don't take baths and they would rather have a larger shower. So, you know, standard tub sizes is a 60 by 30. So in this case, if you can accommodate a 60 by 30 and a walk-in shower for a guest bath, I'd say definitely go for it. You know, might be looking at the shower size and seeing if that's appropriate. You know, we don't want something so small and cramped. So we kind of weigh all those options in design.